While perusing over the interwebs, I saw a comment that was basically meme worthy. The comment goes, "Wake up, samurai, we got a game to render." Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamey Daddy channel. Today we're going to be talking about Cyberpunk 2077, my optimism for the future of this game, and why I believe this is most likely the outcome that we're going to have. So Cyberpunk 2077 has been released, and it's no surprise that many people have different opinions and different views of the game. There's a little bit of the disappointment. There's a little bit of the expectations that were probably met, in some cases not met. But at the end of the day, there is one thing that we can say we are looking forward to, and that is when this game is actually going to be fixed. There are a few reasons why I do believe that this game is going to be fixed, because this is not just an ordinary game. This is one of the most anticipated games of the decade. And like most ambitious enterprises, challenges are always going to be in the way. Nonetheless, CD Projekt Red is that company that does hold its own audience and fans in the highest possible esteem. For those of you who already know, Cyberpunk 2077 did receive a lot of harsh criticism, and a lot of people did push back and say if it was the case of a game from EA or Ubisoft, the gaming community would have basically made more noise. But now it's starting to sink in that CD Projekt Red is not just EA or Ubisoft. They're actually a company that have set themselves apart in the past few years by dedicating their time to making sure that their community is heard, fixing their game, and patching it very well. I am not unaware of this. In fact, I've been paying close attention to my copy of Cyberpunk 2077, which I bought on the Good Old Games store. I've noticed that from time to time, the game will have a lot of patches that are just being updated almost automatically. Now, we also have to speak towards this level of updates and some of the issues that we may find in some of the different versions of the game. Also, my experience is anecdotal, and I bought the game on their own platform. So I think in my case, it will be most likely for them very easy for them to deploy patches as soon as they have them, unlike say for the Xbox One or for the Sony PlayStation versions, which will probably require an extra step of an approval process for them to get those patches into the hands of their community members that are playing on those platforms. Now, let's go into some of the reasons why I think Cyberpunk 2077 is definitely going to be fixed. The very first reason is the financial aspect of things. As of right now, Polygon and some news outlets are already reporting that Cyberpunk 2077 has already recouped its production cost in sales. If you guys remember, a few weeks ago, I made a video actually talking about the estimates of the production of Cyberpunk 2077, and financial experts had actually estimated that this game might be one of the more expensive games to produce. In fact, the number that was actually cited was around the $300 million mark. Well, as it stands, the game has already made that amount of money and more. And if you pick up a calculator, you're going to find out that these numbers are not within reach for a game as anticipated as Cyberpunk 2077, because if you do a simple calculation and divide 300 million by 60, which is basically the cost price on average of the game, you're going to find out that it's only going to require for them to sell 5 million copies for them to reach that number. And I can say that from just what we call common sense logic, that Cyberpunk 2077 must have sold way more than that amount of copies. And so what this means is they now have the financial breathing room, I would say, the sigh of relief. After all these years, we finally recouped our base cost, at least our base cost, because there's going to be fees, there are going to be all kinds of different things that they have to take care of. But at this point, all that's left is for this game to just be in a very good state, at least by the end of its first week, and everything else is going to come rolling in. If you think about it, Cyberpunk 2077 actually does have a very unique opportunity, which is pretty much where I'm going to diverge into my second point. That is, there are not any major games that are going to be coming out in the next few months. So what this means is the development team is most likely not going to be sleeping, but working overtime to get this game in the best possible state that it can actually be in. When you factor in the fact that they've actually recouped their production cost and even more to take care of potentially other things, it is now left for them to now start to make the game in the best possible place it can be so that more players are attracted to the franchise. These two reasons alone are enough incentive for Cyberpunk 2077 to be patched in a very short period of time. Another reason why I do believe that Cyberpunk 2077 is most likely going to be patched and done very fast is just for the sake of their own selves. There's the self-interest that this company does have, but the self-interest is not necessarily the financial aspect of things. I think it's actually much more than that. I think the philosophy of CD Projekt Red goes along the lines of, if you're able to make your company one that is positioned to serve its customer base, there's definitely something of a reward that's waiting for you at the end of that entire interaction. But nonetheless, they've not only believed in this, they've actually put it into practice, which has earned them a reputation for being a very customer-centric development firm. And that being said, I think this reputation is at stake for them, and by all costs and by all means, they have to keep this reputation up. In my last video, I mentioned the fact that even though Cyberpunk 2077 was given the benefit of the doubt, and companies like EA and Ubisoft will probably not be given the benefit of the doubt if they release the game in this state, CD Projekt Red is one studio that does know how to come back and make sure that their fans are happy with their product. In the case of EA, on the other hand, this has not always been the case with them. If you look at some of the EA games that have been made, some of the EA games that have been abandoned, you can think and mention at least a few of them. Mass Effect Andromeda was one of those games that lost EA a lot of trust. Another game that has lost EA more trust than any other game in their franchise is basically the FIFA franchise. It's a franchise that makes them a lot of money, yet from a lot of the members of the community, they seem to be treated like crap, even though they earn this company over $1 billion annually. CD Projekt Red is not going to treat its own customers like that because they do not have a reputation of treating their customers like that. If they did, nobody would actually purchase their game and still give them the benefit of the doubt even when they didn't deliver the full package. But because people know that they're going to go on the back end and make things right, people are a lot more calmer than they would be if it was other development studios that brought out a game looking like this in some instances, let me say, because on a PC, the game really does work and function well for most people. Even though there are some issues left and right, I'm looking forward to them actually taking the steps necessary to do what's right in the eyes of their own consumer base. Now, after all is said and done, we have to wait and see. Most of us know what the outcome will be. Most of you in the gaming community have had good experiences with CD Projekt Red. And it's because of your experience that I've been able to do my research, look at this company, and understand what they're about. And I can say the report of gamers are basically accurate about how CD Projekt Red has treated its own games. So I'm looking forward to them actually making sure that Cyberpunk 2077 is not just a patched game, but a game that becomes a great game as it continues to go into the hands of more gamers and as they continue to fix the problems and listen to their community. Now, the ball's in your court. What do you think? Do you think CD Projekt Red is going to actually come through? Or do you think it's just someone on YouTube talking about anecdotes and this is probably not going to come to fruition? Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. I appreciate you guys for taking the time to watch this video. If you want to get more Cyberpunk 2077 commentary, hit the subscribe button and we'll talk in another video. Peace out.